Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Possible to rekindle confidence in public services? Is it possible? What can be done in order to bring back discipline in public life?
Frankly, I've asked myself that question so many times. I'm very active on my old school platforms, and particularly on my year group law school platform. I've often raised the issue: can we change anything without changing mindsets? Because what I see is a growing mindset of people who have such a huge sense of entitlement without responsibility. If you don't take responsibility for the things we expect to get, what is the point? So I've read Lee Kuan Yew's book. I've reviewed other areas, China. And even if you go back in history, how the European nations built them. They defined who a good citizen is and what you must be responsible for. And so they built rules to achieve that. They designed educational systems to prepare people for that kind of expectation. So I keep asking, if you continue the way we're going, can we be able to bring discipline back into the system? We follow things without looking at the environment. We don't punish children if they err. And so we don't let people understand from the beginning that it's a consequence for any misconduct. My view is that what people learn from the very young age becomes a culture. I have read, I can't confirm whether it's true or not, but I've read some people call it Japanese training culture, some say it's in the Scandinavian countries. The critical things for them is to let it be part of your mindset that one, you can't steal, you can't take what doesn't belong to you. You don't say what you don't know. If you can't prove it, don't say it. If it's not true, don't say it. If you don't know it, keep quiet. So one of my lecturers at the master's level at Gimpa, he said he was in the Scandinavians, and what he saw was that right from the nursery, a teacher enters the classroom, the first thing he said, if it's not yours, then all the children will answer, don't take it. If it's not true, don't say it. If you don't know, keep quiet. And I find that is such a huge orientation, which if people do that all the time, it will build your mind. Because I use certain things that I learned at that very young age as example. To date, sometimes I'm confused. From January, where do I go? January, February, March. And to be able to be sure, or even how many days are in July, I always go back to the rhyme dialect. 30 days are September, April, June, and November. You always need that. It is so easy for you to get tagged with such orientations. Can we start something like that? That is only for people growing up. In my view, if we be able to start and design learning systems that train people from nursery, then for people, adults, fierce and persistent law enforcement. Somebody asked me, but who will enforce the law because they are the same as those who and that I observe that every day. You see that the person who is supposed to enforce the law has practically the same mindset as the person who has committed the offense. So they will always negotiate and get out and get something for ourselves. So what can we do differently? One, I think we should focus on training the young people, make it a conscious national design for training young people. Look for returns in 20 years. I may not see the returns, but if you persist, be assured that the returns will show. Whatever you train your child or your children with, it will become their life. My young children, well, the only time I'll punish you is if you told a lie. Any other thing we will discuss, but if I know you told a lie, I'll punish you. That became my lifestyle. And so, in public service, today, one, competence has been sacrificed for political convenience. People expect that because I supported your party, whether I qualify or not. In fact, we've gotten to a point that we change the entry rules. We insist that the agencies change their rules so we can accommodate our people. For me, it has gotten that bad for us as a country. The end result is that you've got people whose loyalty is not to the law. I'm not even talking about the state. The law represents the state. Our loyalty is to who is my friend, who helped me do this, who get that. We're not going anywhere with any such thing. So, in my view, what is it that we are putting into the minds of young people? For me, is the most critical thing. And then the example of the rest of us. If I insist that my children should tell the truth and I lie openly, it is pointless. Or if I lie and there's no consequence for me, then what I'm teaching them maybe not a good, because children copy you more than what they read.
Learn at school.
Yes, learn at school. So, if you ask me, my view, let's focus on these two things. Design new training systems that will give a new and a different reorientation which people are fiercely loyal to. And obey the law. Let the law be their guide. Take responsibility. Yesterday I was having a discussion with somebody at the airport. I said, look at every village I've gone to. The school building is the dirtiest. They use it for everything. But the community will hardly put their money into repairing that. Every community, the most beautiful building is the church. Everybody thinks that it's important to put money into the church. It means that the orientation. How is it that even the poorest feel comfortable taking his near starving money and put it into there? But even probably the wealthiest will not put anything into repairing a school building. It's all come down to the mindset we built over the years. And therefore, we should look again. When we look at the floods, the day the rains came, I was in Accra. I looked at the charts, the videos, and I look at how we treat our environment generally. Floods have been happening in Accra consistently, and whatever steps we take to ameliorate it, we do the counter things that make it worse. So you put money into repairing it, and then we, the citizens, go back and do the things that worsen it. If people are not focused or orientated to understand the consequence of the misconduct upstream, midstream, downstream, we will keep putting money into the same things and get practically no returns.
So, do you have any doubts that Parliament could become a model of the society we want to build, a society of tolerance, a society of quality, and so on? Do you have any doubt at all that Parliament could play that role?
No, Parliament can. In fact, tolerance and negotiations and things, if you ask me, Parliament is the best example. I recall very much when I was a young person, and I think in the second term of Parliament or first term of Parliament, I did a radio station in Kwesi. That time it was only GCR. And I said that it is because it was a one-party parliament that there appears to be so much tension. Once the other parties join in, we negotiate, we know each other, the kinds of perceptions we have about one another will change. And then as I have experienced myself, grown out of some of the perceptions I had about people and individuals, that will generate the kind of negotiations and things we had. And in my 4 terms in Parliament, that's what I noticed. Many a time, the most difficult things are negotiated and resolved quietly. Except when the parties outside decide otherwise. Unfortunately, the parties outside are failing to talk. They are not discussing anything. I remember when I was a young man, I watched a film, the NPP raid.
Yes.
Before the Israeli army attacked NPP, the Prime Minister called a meeting. If I recall correctly, the meeting with the opposition, and some opposition members were going to argue against the opposition leader said, please stop. This is about our nation. The Prime Minister has briefed me about this. And so, before they left there, we had a reached consensus. I think, Karen John Mahama, when he won the second term, one of the first things he said, that he's directed that the party should talk. What happened? Stopped. President Akufo-Addo, when he became president, one of the first things that is invite both sides, the leadership of both sides to the Jubilee House, discuss what is it. Zafmafu on 2 occasions also invited leadership of both sides. On those occasions, the leadership openly confessed that this has never happened, and it's a good step. But each case, they were short-lived. You know why? Because the party outside said, hey, you've gone to meet with the president, I've compromised you. So the others pulled back. You've gone to meet with the president, I've compromised you. But in, I think, 2012-13, General Mosquito, I always use him as an example because despite everything, he has some values which I cherish a lot. He attended the NPP conference in Tamale, and he gave the speech. He said that he and Sir John Ozefriye have built a relationship, and they have come to a conclusion that we should take each other seriously, rather than leaving the parties in the hands of people who are not responsible for decision making. Unfortunately, they don't go beyond the 1 step, 2 steps. I always give examples like this because for me, they were motivating that we should move beyond whatever it is one party starts or doesn't. It is public funds. So whatever it was intended to use it for, why should you leave it to rot? Sometimes we don't see some of the rots, but since I came into public service, I've gone to see some huge infrastructure that has gone completely waste. If any time you're around the Shanti region, go to Formina. Ask for the hospital the champion was building there. You weep. Huge! Completely overgrown by weeds. Those are public funds. Now we have had to raise money to build another one. Because that one can put it to any use.
Isn't it because we don't hold public officers accountable for their conduct?
Today, I've left Parliament. Whatever I did in Parliament, how are you going to hold me responsible for it? Unless I stole money, that one I'll be. Unless it's a crime. But if we have a system where we keep negotiating, we build a system where continuity is built into our culture of politics, we will not continue to waste public funds the way we're doing. We personalize projects as if they belong to the individual who initiated it. And so, if you look around, you find so many uncompleted projects across the country. Huge sums of money. A country that is always in need of money. Can we continue to do that? How can we overcome these challenges? So, Parliament, I'm sure, if we really permitted Parliament to take lead in these matters, we would easily reach consensus. Oh, let me talk about this voting of MMDCs. It was one of the campaign promises of President Akufo-Addo. When he won, he was keen in making sure that happened. In fact, in Parliament, there was general agreement. Both sides, we agreed that we know how it affects us members of Parliament. You're elected by the general public. And so every little problem, they come to you, but you don't have the resource. The resource is given to somebody who is not elected, and he is not accountable to the people. So for us, it was a major step forward in ensuring that the people who manage the little resources we get at these assemblies are accountable to the people on the ground. So there was general consensus. But I know for a fact that at the meeting, or at the final one, at NDC's meeting, for reasons that nothing other than who will get credit for that, they asked them to come and oppose it. And that's why it was stopped. Because President Akufo-Addo said, if we cannot get consensus of this one, we may not be able to implement it effectively. So let's hold on. Why didn't we get consensus on this? Today I hear that they are bringing the same thing that they opposed. We have wasted how many? Nearly 8 years. Because we each recognize it is valuable, it's a valuable step in our democratic process. But unfortunately, if it were left to Parliament, we would have finished it the same year. But the party outside Parliament had a different arrangement, a different appreciation. So Parliament, I know, if you look critically at all the things Parliament does, over 90% is by consensus. Because at the committee level, every issue will be discussed. If you have a challenge, sometimes we bring the minister. The opposition thinks this way. Can we add this or subtract that? They are proposing this. When there are difficulties, we bring the minister, we sit down, negotiate. So it can easily be a model. But apart from approving what the executive brings, our consensus means nothing.
Well, we're going to take another short break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask a very, very interesting question, which may not be very, very comfortable, but needs to be asked. I'm going to find out from Honorable Joe Osei Owusu. With somebody who has served his country, who has been in Parliament 16 years, has held various other positions and so on. And I want to ask him one interesting question. Sir, given your background, your commitment, and so on, tomorrow morning, President John Dramani Mahama calls and says, come and work with me. What will be your reaction?
My answer is already known.
How?
I do not intend to get into public service position anymore.
Even if it's for the good of the country?
Yes, I don't need to be in a position to be useful. For example, I'll give you an example of what the party assignment they gave me. I come, put in my effort, execute it perfectly, and I return to my private life. public service positions come with a lot of constraints. And I'm not interested in that. Let me be frank. I was offered running mate position in the 2004. I declined it. To me.
Running mate to?
Dr. Bawumia.
Oh, I see.
The elders of the party called me, we discussed it. At that time I had a serious heart condition. But the main thing is that my interest in public life had waned so badly. President Kufuor, when they reported to him, he said, no, he wants to hear it from me himself. So he called me to his office. I told him that unfortunately my health condition is such that elders kings spoke to me. Said my interest in public service has completely waned.
Completely?
Completely.
To the extent that if sometime in the future your party decides that we are the best for the presidential candidature, you still decline?
No, unfortunately, I don't have any passion for that anymore. When I was young, I was really keen, but not anymore. Now, my passion is, what can I do that would be a good example for other people? And
ginger farming is a good example.
It is. It is. All the challenges I'm learning through it, my appreciation of what a farmer does and what we get on the market are vastly increased. And I think that in selecting people to be ministers for agric at least, we should be careful. The school agric people are different. I have a degree in agric and things. You should get people who have been hands-on farmers. That when they will truly appreciate the farmers' responsibilities and challenges. I think in future we should be looking at who has done it before, not who has a degree in this. Because I have a friend who has a degree in agric, and can you take me to your farm? So that's okay. She was surprised. Some of the things that happened, she hasn't seen that before. They have degrees, but they've never been into a farm. They've never seen a real farm before. So I think that we should look at certificates and practical. But generally, I do not intend to take any public service position anymore. It doesn't mean that I cannot serve the state. I can do things, but Kwesi, what really matters for me is what values you leave behind, wherever you are. If any assignment you take, you deliver it perfectly. And unfortunately, sometimes it's difficult in public service to define what do we want, because there are very many varying interests. It makes it difficult for those who are implementing. Because if you're going to implement it truly, firmly, effectively, you leave a lot of people. But if you don't do it that way too, you will not achieve the results. It makes it difficult for those who are political office holders. And that's why my interest has waned. I believe in firm, if it is a queue, anybody who goes align it, let the consequence apply. Unfortunately, you have people who say, oh, this is our party man, oh, this is our daughter, makes it extremely difficult for me, so to do the things that public service requires to do. So I want to be useful to the public, but not necessarily holding a public service position. No.
So now looking at Parliament, you've been there, you've seen it all before and so on. Looking at Parliament, are you happy with the level of acrimony and sometimes even apparent disorder in the House? And this is the final question.
Let me confess that the last 1.5 years or so, I've never sat down to watch any proceedings since I left Parliament. No. I've addressed parliamentary meetings about 3 or 4 times. And when I always tell them that, they are amazed. But some, unfortunately for me, I'm not a social media person a lot. I was only on WhatsApp, so I get some 1 or 2 things from WhatsApp. There was one time that I openly criticized them. I think during one of the proceedings, the vetting proceedings, what the pictures I saw was very disturbing. So when I was called, I openly criticized that that should not be the way. We truly have a system of reaching consensus building, and for those who often call me, they look at how I used to do it. I believe strongly in, you have the right to speak, yes, but there are rules, guidelines, let's follow it. I believe strongly in going by the rules and practices. Outside that, as for what is in your mind, as long as you say it within the rules, why should I be offended? You know, what I'm seeing, the few times I've seen, there appears to be too much drama. In the end, whether you like it or not, the majority would have their way. But the minority must have their say. I always point to Mrs. Bamford Addo. The first time I was in Parliament. There are some people, when they mount the floor, if you rise to interject, she will look at you and turn her back like this. The leadership of the majority then complained to her that is allowing the NPP people to make, and I said, what is your problem? Those people you are complaining, they make useful arguments. You have your numbers. Let's say to them, after that, take your vote. But the Ghanaian people must listen to the alternative. It appears to me that people are uncomfortable with listening to the alternative. Or sometimes, those making the alternative arguments also are given to too much drama. I don't know whether it is a fallout from what I was saying about too many young men. You know, what I saw when I was growing up was clearly people who focused. You know, this is where you're going, but you have space and time for this person to make his case. And it was always beautiful to listen to some of the people. I recall one of the MPs, now he's a minister, came to my office. Oh, how about? And I said, listen, this is your colleague MP. At that time they were in minority. This is your colleague. When he mounts, listen to him. His language, choice of words and things. People say that I favor him, but because he makes good presentation on the floor of the house. So I keep look at him, look at his examples. That's another one who says, I said, right, you're taking this personal. You're breaching these rules. If I don't guide you, it becomes a habit. You know, so probably I was too open to everybody else. They felt free to come and discuss. Even when they thought that I was unfair to them, I still had time to listen to them and guide, use others as example. Today what I see, the little that I've seen is, I don't know whether it's because probably I don't look at, but most of the time what comes to my attention through WhatsApp platforms are controversies which in my view could have been avoided. I recall the very first incident. I met Honorable Haruna Idrisu and the late Minister for Environment, may his soul rest in peace, who died in the crash.
Yes.
It was Honorable Muntake's mom's funeral, so we all met. I said, Mr. Speaker, you see, they used to say that we are compromised, see that your leadership always guided us into a fair. Then we laughed about it, you know. But it is because when there were controversies, we will sit down behind the scenes, discuss them before we come onto there. Because you can never have all the issues resolved in the open. And therefore, my view is that they can do better. They can do better. Many of them have matured enough to grow out of these drama-focused things. They should let Ghanaians see a house that is discussing issues about Ghanaians, not about the parties, not about the individuals. That appears to be, in my view, controversies demonstrating partisanship too much. But I feel that when I listen to them, yesterday I listened to a presentation on some loan to Kojo Ponkroma and I think the one who used to be Bawumia's assistant. Forgot his name. Excellent presentation. It doesn't mean that you are right. It means that the alternative view is being discussed. And to the electorate, the only way to give hope is that, okay, if I don't like this, there's an alternative. If you don't permit the alternative to be presented in such a way as to give, it means that you're killing the democracy.
Yeah.
Democracy means that people must have the opportunity to choose between options, and each side must be given the opportunity to be heard in such a way as to give hope. Otherwise, when people lose hope, we may lose our democracy.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Well, we've been in a conversation with Honorable Joe Osei Wusu, who used to be the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. We've been talking about his experiences and so on. My hope that all of us have picked a thing. How come that you spent 16 years in Parliament? Did you like it? Were you forced to? What happened?
No, I enjoyed work in Parliament. I enjoyed my work in my constituency. I had focused on specific things that I thought my constituency ought to get. And I truly worked to deliver them. In the course of the work, I learned so much. I learned particularly about conflict management and even post-conflict relationships. Growing up, I didn't like to quarrel at all because by nature, once I quarrel, I can't reconcile. It was a very difficult thing for me. But some experiences in Parliament let me overcome those things. Differentiate between quarreling and disagreeing in such a way that is not personal. So I should say that I grew out. And then I had the opportunity to have interaction with parliaments outside Ghana. Other people looked at perspectives of lawmaking and the role of MPs in other areas. So I think that the learning process got to a point that I think I had outgrown Parliament. I recall I had a meeting with Dr. Kwesi, Dr. Chambers, and there's another gentleman who are into managing conflict and things. And I said something which Kwesi said, truly, he hasn't looked at that. I said, have you noticed that both parties, the major parties in Ghana, have stopped any gatekeeping system in entry to Parliament? And have you noticed that that is badly affecting the quality of Parliament? And for that reason, I think that I have outgrown Parliament. It's no longer the place that used to entice me, sitting from outside. Incidentally, my speaker then, the current speaker, had also made the same observation. And it looks like we are admitting too many young people into the House. I don't know whether it's a good decision or a bad decision, but I would say that the quality of debate and debating for a purpose appears to be dwindling and more being self-centered, just being seen as a proponent of this. The bigger impact appeared to be lost to members of Parliament, and I saw it drifting down. So I said, well, it's time to admit that you're no longer in fashion. So after 4 terms, I realized that, one, the most critical things for me as a public servant, the people of Bekwai brought me, I think I'd achieved the biggest of them. So it was time to sit down. But again, also, what really attracted me to Parliament from a very young age was no longer visible. So I thought I had outgrown it.
So, sir, what are you doing with all the experience you have acquired? Are you wasting it? Are you putting it to productive use?
I have been helping my party. In the last 1.5 to 2 years, I've assigned 2 major assignments, and I led them to very successful conclusions. A year ago, we had the national conference. It started with controversy and so on. And then I was appointed to lead the team. And I brought the kind of discipline we need to achieve the things we want to achieve. And we successfully delivered the conference. And then the presidential election, I was again invited to lead it. A lot of mistrust as I took the chair and ensured that what is it that we want to achieve? Why are you in distress? What is hurting? What can we do right? I pulled a team of all the contestants' representatives together. We met frequently, discussed all the issues. By the time we got to the election, sufficient trust for the system had been built. And what I assured myself and all the contestants is that I want to lead the team to deliver election which no one will have a basis to complain. And I think, to a large extent, we achieved that. So far, after that, I spend the rest of my time at Bekwai, doing little things and truly relaxing.
What are some of these little things that you've been doing in Bekwai?
Well,
Farming?
yes, I'm into ginger farming.
Oh, wow.
You have to put your hands in it to understand what farmers go through. My brother-in-law is also retired. He was an international player. And he also started farming. When we sit down, we compare and we say, wow, I think that we don't give sufficient leverage to farmers. It's such a challenging business. So far, I've sunk in nearly 800,000 into just about 10 acres of a ginger farm. And I haven't gotten anything yet.
No, it will come.
So they keep assuring me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is really challenging. It makes my appreciation of the produce I see on the market heightened because the everyday thing. By the time you clear the weeds to the end, another one has started. You have to come back. Hey, just yesterday when I was leaving the airport, I got a call. The disease that killed all the plants last year appeared to re-emerging. Immediately moved to the agric officer, discussed. So by the time I got down here, I was on phone with agric officers. We have to buy this medication, we have to buy that. It's an all year round thing. And it's expensive. It is expensive.
Yeah.
After that, I sell water.
Water?
Yes. I've been appointed a distributor for Belacqua.
Oh, okay.
So distributor for Belacqua in Bekwai. I have a social center built over 10 years. Growing up, I'd always said we need something beautiful, and my experience around the world gave me an idea what I wanted. So I bought Major Park, which was in town. When I was growing up, it was a secondary school. It was called President Kennedy Secondary School. Then later it became police headquarters. And we built a new one. So came idle with containers all the place. I bought the place and rebuilt it and furnished it beautifully for outdoor events. And so these are the things I spend my time on. Moving between, following water up, managing this, and then managing the farm.
So are there any ambitions that you may have had which you haven't realized yet?
Should I say haven't realized? Along the way, I gave up. When I was a young man, I told myself I'll be president.
Wow.
of this country. Yes. Even when I joined DVLA, once I'm in public service, you have all kinds of first people make you, help me do this, I'll do that. There's a guy I got sold. So listen, please, I want to be president of this country. Don't come and disturb my space with these peanuts that you're offering. If you deserve it, I'll let you go and come back. If you don't deserve it, no matter what you offer me, you won't get it. So let's focus on the requirements we have asked from you. But as I grew in public service, my interest waned. My interest in public service today completely waned.
Why?
I think as a country, we have failed to do something critical. Or in all our training programs, we have no focus on training a mindset. So, my first public service appointment was DVLA Chief Executive. At that time, I was so upbeat. I was confident in young people like me. I was just about 40 people like me and the things we can do for the country. The kind of focus we had. As we moved on, I noticed that people who think like me are fewer. And a lot more people think about what I can get out of it. By the time I left Parliament, my interest in public service has waned. There's too much emphasis. There's too much indiscipline. Indiscipline has grown. It's not just public service people, but generally across the country. Look around you. Every facility is encroached upon and misused by the populace. And then it is easy to always blame people in authority. Of course, we are also part of the challenge because we make rules we don't enforce. I recall was in my second term in Parliament. I had a long discussion with if we know the number of laws we make a year, if you look at the number of laws we make a year, and you go outside and you listen whether people know, understand, or willing or implementing anything, you get disappointed. And he agreed with me. He said, Joe, I have also thought about these things on so many occasions. Probably from my experience as a lawyer. I firmly believe in law and order. So I see doing things which ought not to be done. Nobody appears to be willing and ready to insist on doing the right thing. And when you go to the constituencies, it's gotten worse. Just one Sunday, I'd gone to Bekwai. I was driving through a particular street just in front of the market. And I saw for the first time the market women come out of the market. The market is a big enclosed one. Story buildings all around it. Come out of the market entrance and put kitchen stools half of the road and selling cassava. Couldn't believe this. I called the MC. Have you seen this? Oh, because we got the same policemen to sack them. But of course, I returned to Accra. They went back. Today, half of that street is taken. You can hardly drive through there. And even emergency areas. We have a maternity house right in front of the maternity house. We built a new hospital, so we moved the maternity there. But we gave that place to National Ambulance. So they had move in and out quickly. I'm sure if there's an emergency, they have to run over people and sellers. We have officers, employed, public assembly officers in charge. I'm not blaming only those who are in charge now, those before, my own MCEs. I've had that argument so many times. So, if I had my own paper, I would build my own community and make the rules. If you don't apply the rules, you get out. You don't follow the rules, you get out. But living in a community where anybody who insists on the rules seen as the bad person. And the election has made it worse. The fear that if you insist on the rules, you lose election. So then why do I want to lead? What for? Can I be useful? I keep asking myself that question. If I were president today, can I get the country to where I saw it when I was growing up? Where discipline was enforced, where rules were respected, where people who breach rules suffered the consequences. Today,